How to become a partner in a firm. Quite complicated, hard to implement, often doesn't get implemented. Business disciplines apply. Money always matters. There's always a focus on, it helps us build credibility and trust. And it gives us confidence. Clearly, we've got to be on top of it. We have to put all three together.
Whatever role we're in, almost inevitably, it's very challenging. My role is to share the lessons of my 30 plus years of experience of running businesses, developing teams, leading turnarounds and assessing businesses for acquisition.
Collectively, across the whole of my career, I've been involved with over 150 different operating organisations and environments. I've been involved with many consulting and professional services organisations over the years, buying consulting businesses, buying from consulting and professional services, audit firms, law firms. Also, within consulting firms, as an employee, I've had my own consulting practice. I've also been a non-executive director of consulting businesses.
My name's Rob Evans, and I hope you find this content both enjoyable and of great value.
The route to partnership is rarely one of purely technical expertise. It isn't impossible to get promoted to partner purely on technical expertise, but it is rare. A much more likely route to partnership is based on business acumen and people acumen, and that's why I've developed a program to help consultants better understand how to engage with clients, understand organizations, understand business leader thinking, and understand the key aspects of a sales process to help guide that process of progressing towards partner within a professional services and within a consulting firm. In my experience, a lot of the sales training that's provided is quite complicated, hard to implement, often doesn't get implemented, and is very focused on specific parts of a sales process. So it's based on qualifications, or it's based on the steps in identification of a deal through to the closing of a deal. But in reality, the essence of a strong consulting relationship, professional services relationship, is a peer-to-peer business relationship, regardless of what it is that we provide. Even if we ourselves are a very boutique and niche and very specialist technical enterprise, we're almost always engaging on a business level. And the more capable we are at building long-term relationships, but also understanding organizations from their perspective, from a commercial perspective, understanding organizations perhaps with which we've previously been unfamiliar in terms of the early stages of finding new business for us. I think business acumen and people acumen are really important, and I think the elements of business acumen that are important to have your arms around in your pursuit to become a partner in a firm is to focus on, first of all, having almost a mini MBA, an overview of the business ecosystem in which all of us work. Even if we're working in a not-for-profit, whether it's for-profit or not-for-profit, organizations have customers or beneficiaries, they're providing a service, they have investors or donors, and business disciplines apply. Money always matters. There's always a focus on some kind of returns or deliverables. There's always a focus on risk management. There's always a focus on information provision and information flow. So I think it's really important to have a clear understanding of the business ecosystem in which every organization operates. It's also important to have enough of an understanding of financial statements, financial terms. We don't need to be an accountant, but to understand enough that we feel confident in engaging in discussing where financial terms are being used. We feel confident, we understand what the financial terms relate to, and we're not in any way feeling daunted by the terminology. I take you through a finance for non-financial managers in 15-20 minutes, and I also include the specific dynamics of the financials in a consulting business, because I think that's quite important.
You can find the program by clicking the link in the description or the comments. Also, I do keynotes and talks, lunch and learns, breakfast and learns, online forums.
It's also helpful to have a clear understanding and a clear picture how organizations are typically organized, how they're typically funded, and also to be able to quickly get to grips with what it is that organizations do from a business perspective, from an operational perspective. And I think there's 7 flavors of activity that every value proposition that an organization is engaged in, these activities typically underpin them. So one organization typically will be engaged in perhaps 2 or 3 of the 7 activities that I think are prevalent throughout businesses. And if we understand the 7 activities, each of the 7 are quite distinct. The dynamics, the preoccupations, the systems, the typical business metrics, the working capital metrics. So the things that concern us in each of these different flavors of business tend to be different. So if you understand these activity models, it can help us quickly get to grips with organizations that we've previously been unfamiliar. And it can help us think about the type of points that we need to discuss with individuals. It can help us think about how our proposition, how our solution fits within the overall picture. In essence, it helps us build credibility and trust. And it gives us confidence. Opportunities come to us through relationships, the possibility we can add some value, something needs to be done, or there's an opportunity to take an organization from A to B. And thirdly, we've got to have the capability. So we have to put all 3 together. That's a major focus of the program, is relationship building. It's how to identify possibility in organizations, and what do we need to do ourselves to put ourselves in a great position to contribute. And the other piece is people acumen. In the end, I think there's 4 flavors of people acumen that are really important, and communication's one, relationship building's another one. Having a leadership methodology that we can draw from is helpful. If you think about us in a consulting role, often we're managing constantly changing teams. We have to find ways to almost create a mini project culture for the duration of the project. So I have some ideas that I can share in that regard as well. I think the other piece is selling acumen, and there's a very straightforward model that we can think about in terms of the journey that we typically take relationships on. There's a sequence of steps that we can run through to quickly get to grips with organizations with which we're seeking to engage. So I think in terms of how do we become a partner in a firm, I think clearly we've got to be on top of all of the technical aspects, the expertise in our role, get as much experience as possible. Clearly we've got to be on top of the internal political dynamics, because every consulting professional services organization has those. But on top of that, the key attributes are business acumen and people acumen.
I hope you enjoyed that and got great value from it. Please don't forget to check out the link. Also, please give it a like and please do subscribe. As I said, it really does help. I'll see you in the next video.